Jacob. Jacob, we haven't talked to you this spring. Tell us about your new guys in the wide receiver rotation.
Yeah, a lot of fresh faces, little puppies as I call them. Again, as a coach, you always hate to see the talent that leaves you with a DK and AJ and Lodge and, Alex Weber and Floyd. I mean, that left a big void in our room, but that's why we call us coach. Everybody calls us coach. So it's fun just because you get to start all the way over and you get to build the room. And we got a lot of guys that love football, and I think that was real important. Guys that just eat and live and breathe football. Because I think at the end of the day, when you get guys that love it, and it's not about the recruiting and the hype and all that, I think you got a chance to have a special group. But we're going to be young, but hey, nobody feels sorry for me. Nobody feels sorry for anybody. We want to win now, including myself. So we'll see how it goes.
How different are the route responsibilities for your wide receivers in Rich Rod's offense versus last season?
Yeah, again, a little bit of structure in terms of a little bit more defined coverage reads. We're going to have the opportunity to break some routes off when we see different coverages, but that's some things we've done in the past, places I've been. So it's not really truly a new thing. Maybe for some of these young guys, it may be a little bit of a learning curve, but after 13 practices, I think they've really kind of taken that, in terms of taking that in stride. It was a little bit ugly early, just with the timing, and that's usually what comes a little bit later. And so I thought, with all those freshman quarterbacks and a lot of young freshmen and, junior college transfer receiver, it's a little bit of timing. It's not always going to be where you want it to be, but I thought they kind of, got better with that as spring went on.
When you talk about the opportunity to break off some routes and whatnot, just explain that a little more, please, because what we heard last year was so much about chasing space and freedom and just breaking off routes a lot earlier. Is there less of that?
Yeah, I think that may have gotten thrown out of proportion a little bit. Everybody kind of heard chasing space and graphs. I mean, it was a little bit more structured than probably people thought. But basically, if you have a corner route versus cover 2, you're going to run it this way. If they roll to cover 3, you're going to run it this way. It's just a little bit defined based on the exact coverage that you're going to see. And again, there's always going to be the opportunity if there's a defender sitting right there, we don't want to run into him. Do you want to break your route off and chase the open grass? Every offense does that to its own. But again, I think it's just a little bit more coverage read, if I say it that way, a little bit better. Just we're going to break routes depending upon the different coverages that we see.
Tylen said he's been playing some slot. How has he acclimated to that in your mind?
Really well. Those small, shifty phone booth guys, I guess you can call them. Again, a guy that you can do a lot of different things with. You can go from what I call 10 personnel, 4 receivers, and go into 2 backs with 2 running backs in the game and not have to sub. And you catch defenses off doing that. But made some plays out there the last few days. Just had some injuries, nothing serious with some slots. And so threw him out there, thought he took to it really well, and again, a guy that just competes his tail off every single day. I mean, he's 6A Player of the Year for a reason. I mean, he's always kind of had a chip on his shoulder, and he plays that way. And so, really excited about him. Again, having 2 kind of phone booth type guys with Elijah and Tylen, they kind of give you some opportunities to do some fun things with them.
So is he a receiver forever and ever, amen?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think again, you can be. He's multiple. He's an offensive player, I will say that, but I'm not going to put a label on him. I think he has opportunity to get the ball in his hands as a running back, but also as a receiver. And I think when you can be multiple, you have more opportunities to get touches.
Seems like Drummond has been getting a lot of reps this spring. What kind of stands out about him?
Ball skills. Again, with Braylon Sanders having surgery and being limited early, it kind of forced him a little bit to the forefront. And again, he brings some experience. I mean, a junior college kid that's won 2 national championships and an All-American at that level. I mean, but the speed of the game is always different. Usually junior college guys, if you can get them in the spring, they usually have a lot better chance to help you in the fall just because they get acclimated to the speed. And so, again, he's a guy that's really done well. First few days, kind of swimming mentally, everybody was, but I think he's taken to the offense and has improved drastically from day 1 to day 13. And again, just great kid, has a success everything he's done, whether it's football in high school, basketball in high school, junior college football. He's always kind of worked his way to the top and had success, and I think he'll be the same here.
Can you talk a little bit about Miles' battle? He looks bigger
Mm-hmm.
out there this year.
Yeah, Miles has probably put on close to 20-ish, maybe more than 20 pounds. He was 180-something pounds. He's up in like close to, I would say, 205 to 210 right now, which is huge for getting off press coverage in this league. I remember having a conversation with him last year during fall camp, and I asked him, I said, how much press coverage did you see in high school? And he looked at me and said, rarely at all, because defenses didn't want to get beat over the top, so they played soft on him. So you saw guys like DK Metcalf, it was a little bit of a process, and then he got a lot better at it, and as he got stronger and got a little bit more comfortable with the coaching technique that I was asking, and same thing with Miles. Again, I'm glad that redshirt rule was huge for him last year, getting to play in 4 games and, getting some SEC game experience, and again, I thought that just really helped him kind of grow a little bit, and obviously getting in the weight room, getting stronger, and even these next few weeks as we lead up to fall camp is going to be huge because he is a weight room guy. He likes to work in there just as much on the field. So I could see him even getting bigger, and he hasn't lost his speed. I think he's actually kind of gotten a little bit faster, which is good.
Can you talk about your anticipation of Dennis Jackson and Jonathan Mingo joining your receiver room?
Yeah, really excited about all 3 of those guys, Jernigan, Mingo, and Dennis. Dennis will be interesting to see. He's never seen a weight room. He goes straight from football to baseball or basketball to baseball. And, Mingo is a little bit of the physical specimen, kind of let's get a little bit built like 210, 215, and kind of like AJ was. And Jordan Jernigan, I think, again, having the offensive system that'll fit him and his skill set to run. Again, we're always going to play the best players. I'm excited to see what those guys bring. I think, obviously, they're going to get thrown to the fire, no different than the freshmen did last year, and see if they can help us. And if they can, they're going to play. I've always lived by the philosophy the best players are going to play regardless of year, and we'll give them opportunities starting in fall camp. But again, can't wait because I think they were all big wins for us on signing day to be able to keep those 3 in state. And again, none of them went without a battle, down to the end, some of them. And so I'm excited because, again, I think they're hardworking kids.
Along those lines, how has it benefited Jaden Jackson to be here for spring?
Huge. That was a really big moment to get him in, get him graduated early. He's got a little bit of a hamstring here the last few days, which hate that for him because he was really improving, doing well. Again, 100-meter state champion in the state of Arkansas. When he knows what he's doing, he plays at a different speed. And when he kind of thinks, he doesn't play at the speed you want him at, which is typical. But I love it. He's so in tuned out there. He's in the green jersey, but when you call a play, he knows immediately what's going on. And that's a testament to that kid because a lot of times when freshmen, especially freshmen, get hurt, they kind of clock out and check out on you a little bit. But he's kind of locked in, and so I think he'll have the opportunity to help us this fall as well, just because he's here and he's going to have the opportunities to get in the weight room, get stronger and faster in this offseason.
Jacob, of course, there's a lot of talk out there about DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown and, what the future holds for them. Not as much about DeMarcus Lodge. And I wanted to ask you about DeMarcus and what you think what he can do on the next level.
Yeah, I can't wait because at the end of the day, the kid, he may be the best route runner of the 3, which says a lot because, all 3 of them are draft guys. Again, I love DeMarcus. I love everything he did for us. He was very humble and selfless at that position. It's really easy to be selfish, and I just remember when everything went down, that kid had everybody in the country calling him to transfer, and he could have been immediately eligible, and he turned it down. He didn't even waver. And again, he's playing with a little bit of chip on his shoulder right now too. Go prove some people wrong, but I do think he has an opportunity to play for a long time if you give him the right situation, the right opportunity. So excited for him. He looked really good out there at Pro Day. He was so smooth in and out of his breaks and his transitions, top of the routes. He looked like a big time receiver, which he was. And at the end of the year last year, the kid was playing hurt. People didn't know that. I remember Vanderbilt game. Never seen this in my life. A kid runs from the injury tent, pulls a kid off the field so he can be back in to go force that game into overtime. I've never seen that in my life where a lot of kids would have said, okay, I'm senior year, I'm getting ready for the draft, but that just shows you his dedication and his selflessness.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep,
Thanks, Jake.
of course, guys.